we all know that life isn't perfect. We all kind of accept that it's perfectly imperfect, right? Yet we still get caught up on imperfections. It's crazy. We sort of know they exist. We know they're going to exist. We know it's perfect that way. Yet we still get caught up on them. More so within ourselves. It's the imperfections in our friends and our family, those things that make them quirky or unique or funny, that we admire about them. It's the fact that they're not perfect that we admire our friends and love our family. It is, right? We fall in love with all those things that make them different, or they make us laugh because of those imperfections. We end up admiring them because of all these things that make them who they are. Their imperfect self or perfect self. And we can see that when we're looking at others, when we're looking at our friends and our family and the people we admire. And if you really looked into it, you'd realise that, yeah, it's actually all those things that are kind of unique and in many ways imperfect that makes us love them. We fall in love, we can connect with them because of those things. Yet when it's ourselves, we judge ourselves for our imperfections. We judge that part of ourselves, and we get caught up on that part of ourselves. And we find it hard to accept that we have these flaws, we have these things that aren't quite ideal, or that we'd like to be different. And of course, certain imperfections will need work, certain weaknesses will be better for us to overcome and learn and work with. It's not all about just accepting everything about yourself. There's areas for growth, right? And by working on certain parts of yourself that aren't ideal or that are kind of imperfect in a way that is going to stop you from being the kind of person you want to be or the kind of person that you strive to be, certain weaknesses and imperfections, we need to work on that and we overcome it. So it's about recognizing what are the things that we want to work with, these imperfections that hold us back, these imperfections that stop us being the person that we would ideally be. When you close your eyes and you think, yeah, who's the person that I want to be? What sort of things are stopping me from doing that? Do we have some negative traits that aren't just imperfect, they're actually kind of negative, they might be quite toxic, and there's room for us to work on that, right? And we need to. Can't just accept that. There's areas of growth there to be had. But that's what it's about, I think, is recognizing, right, what things are holding me back from being who I want to be? What things are holding me back from catapulting me onto the path of my true purpose and stopping me from starting the businesses I want to start or starting the projects I want to start? Is there things there in those areas that are holding you back? Because you can work upon those things, gain clarity on those things and overcome those things. So you're taking steps forward into not only bettering yourself, but start becoming the person and living the life that you want to live through overcoming. Yet there's other things for sure. A lot of the time, the vanity things or the things that maybe make us embarrassed. A lot of these things don't hold us back. It's just that we know that there's someone else that's maybe better in that field than us or is more gifted in that field than us, and we wish we weren't that way. Yeah, it's these things, these quirks that make us so different, that make us unique, that others will love us for, that we need to accept. We need to get used to embracing the things that do just make us unique and give us these quirks versus what things are actually holding us back from being the person we want to be. Because a lot of the time, you're already perfect as you are, perfectly imperfect. And it's only a couple of weaknesses and stuff that you can work upon that's going to make you feel better and be better for your own good. Not worrying about anyone else. This is what it's like most of the time, right? Yeah, we get caught up on the imperfections, yet it's these imperfections that make us loved and make us unique, make us different. It makes life exciting, right? Brings up emotions in people and in yourself and good and bad, but this is what life's all about. And I've realised this in music as well, spending my time doing music over the last however many years. There's been a couple of occasions, right, where we've been recording or I've been recording and I'd play a wrong guitar note. And now most of the time, if you play a wrong note, it's in the wrong key or something like that, it doesn't sound right. It's like, oh, we need to get rid of that, re-record, okay? You need to improve that. It's stopping the music from being complete and whole, right? We need to get rid of that. Yeah, there's been these few examples where I've played a wrong note, and there's something about it that's amazing. It sounds good. To my ears, it sounded really, really good. It's sort of brought up a little bit of an emotion, or made there have this unique feeling, that dissonance in the music from playing a wrong note that was out of key. Technically it was wrong, yet to my ears it made it interesting, it made it unique, it made it different, and it sparked an emotion that made me feel that piece of music was better with that wrong note in than if it didn't have the wrong note in. You know, and this is an example of, like, I applied that to life. As I said, sometimes maybe you need to re-record, let's say, and work upon that thing, improve it, because it's ruining the piece. It's ruining your life. These are the things to recognise where you need to work upon for your own good. Yet there's going to be other things, other imperfections, like this story of me playing a wrong note in a song, where it sparks emotion, creates interest, completes the story in many ways, you know. I ended up admiring that piece of music because it had that note in. And I struggled with this when I was making music with other people, or when I make music with other people, you know, because technically that note was wrong. So everyone was like, "No, we've got to get rid of that. It's out of key." Yeah, I was in that feeling of like, yeah, but listen to it. Do you not think it sparks something, right? Do you not think it creates something interesting? Yeah, it's wrong. Technically, it's wrong. But forgetting all the rules of music, to me, it sounds right. I love that there's this one moment, this split second in the whole piece of music where this dissonance is created, and it's more interested and it's unique. It's perfectly imperfect, right? And this ties over to life, you know? It really does. Don't wait to be perfect, and recognize when these imperfections are actually sparking interest and creating something unique, and something that you can embrace, rather than just feel that it's wrong, therefore it needs to change, or you can't embrace that part of you. And it's the same with starting projects and starting businesses and starting hobbies. You feel like you're not quite qualified enough just to start, or you're not perfect enough in that realm, you know. There's too many imperfections about you that would hold you back or stop you from starting. There's always going to be someone better, or who am I to start this business, or who am I to start that project. We get caught up on all the things that aren't quite right, rather than recognizing all the gifts and stuff that we can embrace and use when starting a business, or starting a project, or starting a hobby. I think so many people get caught up on that, and no, like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not an artist. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. Yet just start with all them imperfections, all those things that you don't like about yourself. Or the imperfection might be that you don't quite know how you're going to do it yet. Yet start anyway. And allow the journey, allow just starting it to show you the way. You're going to learn, you're going to grow. We don't need to have the perfection of having the whole plan figured out for us to start. I mean, it's what our lives are anyway, right? We're not born with this knowing. Our souls might know what the path ahead is, but we don't know in our minds. You know, we're oblivious, and we just put one foot in front of the other, being guided by peers and everything else, and the things that we go off and learn and see. And we're just doing our best to navigate, learning along the way about our characters, about the things that we like, the things that we don't like, the things that we struggle with, the things that we thrive in. We're just figuring it out. Yet when it comes to, as I said, starting passion projects and everything else, or starting new things, making big changes, so many seem to get caught up on these minor imperfections, rather than embracing the things that they can work with. And rather than accepting that they're not perfect or not fully qualified, that they can start anyway, and let all that unravel, and let it show, let the journey, starting the journey, show them the way over years and years and years, and you'll look back and realise how far you've come by just starting. I think those that are successful start anyway. They start, because that's step one, right? You just got to start. We don't start with the end goal. We start at the start, and there's everything in between that's going to allow us to learn what we need to learn and grow what we need to grow. And by starting, you're shown the areas you need to improve on. You're shown the areas that you can accept and love and embrace, because they're actually strengths of yours. They're things that make you unique. They're things that others are going to connect with. We hold ourselves back way too often as humans. Yet we're all gifted and so unique, and all these little quirks and imperfections we can actually be embracing and recognise that, yeah, I've got this thing about me, but not everyone else has got that. going to lean into that and love that part of me and accept that part of me, and even use it, use it in my journey, rather than it eating me up inside or being embarrassed about it. It's even like me with this, right? I do a lot of the time struggle with words, and I probably make some people laugh. If there's probably some videos I've done where I've said the wrong word and not even noticed it. I've carried on like I've said the right word. Some of you might reckon, that wasn't the right word. Yet by doing this, getting better at it, doing it more often, and not only have I learned that about myself now, like, oh yeah, I do still fumble over my words sometimes or say the wrong word. I'm fine expressing myself and saying what I want to say, but my language isn't the best. But that's okay, I can accept that. I'm not going to stop it. I'm not going to allow that to stop me talking. It is what it is. It is what it is. And as I said, I'll get better at it over time by doing it more often. And I'm pleased that I've had that reflection. I'm pleased that I've started this so that I can now recognise that I do have that about myself. I do fumble over my words sometimes, or my language isn't the best. My use of words isn't the best, but that's okay. It's fine. I'll get better, and I also can accept that about myself. It's fine. I'm not going to let that stop me or let that eat me up. My gifts are in other areas, and that's okay. We have just got to start these things and not let all these little imperfections, and as I said, me fumbling or saying the wrong word might actually make someone laugh, and that's worth it, right? At my expense, that's worth it, to make someone chuckle. In the meantime, it can be a gift. It really can. It can be funny. It also can be something that people relate with. It can be something, all these things, these imperfections about ourselves can actually be the things that people end up admiring about us, like we do, as I said at the start of the video, about our loved ones and our friends, right? These things that make your best friend your best friend, it's not that they're perfect, that we love them. It's actually the opposite, right? It's all these little quirks and things that make them who they are, that we love and we connect with, because they're not perfect. And this is the same. It's the same with your projects. It's the same with, and you should treat yourself the same. Treat yourself with that same love and that same admiration, and recognise the things that do need some work and that you'd like to overcome to better yourself and improve you as a person. That's growth. That's what we're here to do. But in that is also a lot of acceptance that we need to get better at, of accepting that we are just that way, and it's not actually holding me back unless I allow it to hold me back. It could actually catapult me forward if I embrace it and learn to love that part of myself. What weaknesses of yours need some work, and what weaknesses of yours need just to be accepted and moved on. Ask yourself that, because then you're going to have this small area of focus. I'm going to work on these things. It's going to better my business, going to better my character, it's going to make me come out of myself more, it's going to allow me to get on with my projects more if I work on these weaknesses. But the rest of them that aren't holding you back, maybe just things you're a little bit embarrassed by or wished you were a little bit better at, but it's not actually stopping you from being a good person. It's not stopping you from starting things, and it's not getting in the way of yourself, other than you judging it so much internally. Then learn to accept those things, learn to love those things, learn to embrace that that's what's making you unique, that's what makes you different, rather than giving these imperfections so much power to stop us and hold us back. And it's the same with hardship. It's the same in life, in hardship. There's plenty of things in life to find flaws in. But again, we accept that we know this about life. It's imperfectly perfect. We know we're going to have the good times, we're going to have the bad times. We accept that. But rather than get frustrated that we're in bad times or hardship, learn to love that, learn to embrace that, because that's where we grow. That's how we learn about ourselves. That's how we overcome, and it's in that duality of life that we get to experience and know what bliss is, know what joy is, know what laughter is. It's through the hard times and the bad days that we've had that we can really enjoy and make the most of and be grateful for when we're having an amazing day, because we know what it's like not to have an amazing day. And this is what's perfect about imperfection. It's needed, it's duality, it's the way the world works. And it's the same with emotions, where it's a gift for us humans to have these emotions, to feel the full spectrum of emotions. If we were just feeling happy all the time, well, we wouldn't feel happy all the time if we didn't know what it was like to go through hardship. If we didn't know what it was like to go through pain and overcome that pain. and grow in the meantime, learn lessons in the meantime, then we wouldn't know what it's like to feel blissful joy and happiness, We need it, and it's a gift that we have this full spectrums as humans to have all these emotions. It really is. I think it's overlooked, it's not about just being sad all the time. It's just recognizing it's a part of life. It's a part of what makes life perfect. Yet the hardship we can get frustrated by and sad in because it's hard. But what that pulls out of us is character growth, overcoming. And when you know that you've got the power to overcome and to tackle it head on and show up and turn up and overcome it, not only will that give you fulfillment and growth as a character and make you feel good in itself just by doing the hard things, but whilst you're doing the hard things, also recognize this is a part of it, man. It's because of these days and these moments that I also experienced the laughter and the bliss and the love for life. Because without these moments, I wouldn't have any context for what that feels like. It's perfectly imperfect. It's duality. And we have that within ourselves, and it's also in everyday life. Yet we accept it in other people and admire them for it. We also kind of accept it about life, that it's just the way the life is, yet we still can get frustrated and let it hold us back and not fully embrace it. It's like that falling in love with the hardship just as much as you fall in love with the joys and the good things in life. It's all part of it. It's all part of the picture, Embracing imperfections in life, embrace the imperfections in you. Learn to recognize which ones to accept and love. It's through this that we have gratitude. It's through this that we can feel and grow. And it would be a boring life without these imperfections, and that's what makes it perfect. It really, really is, We have gratitude because we know life isn't always smooth or a given, We feel euphoria and happiness because we know that circumstances don't always allow us to be in so much joy. And we can love and accept the quirks that make us unique because we know our strengths and qualities. It's duality. Embrace it and don't let these little imperfections within you hold you back or eat you up inside. Just know the ones you need to work on. And then learn which ones you just need to accept and love about yourself. The ones that actually make you unique, but not only that, bring some substance to life, bring some meaning to life. It'd be boring. We're all at different levels in different areas of our life. Strengths and weaknesses. Things we find easy, things we find hard are different to our neighbour. That's the power of community. That's the power of going together, learning from each other. But even without that, just focus on yourself, accepting that I'm great in these areas. Therefore, I can love the things that I'm not the best at, and I'm perfectly imperfect as I am. As long as you're overcoming, as long as you're reflecting on the things that do stop you from being the person you want to be, or stop you being a better person for your own sake, let alone anyone else, just for your own sake, for your own experience in life. But that also means accepting, for your own experience in life, accepting those imperfections that are just what make you beautifully unique, and bring some substance to life. Keep shining, and stop holding yourself back. And definitely don't wait to be perfect, because that's not coming. Lives and humans are perfectly imperfect, and we need to embrace that.